Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless. I am your host, Tammy Simmons, and I wanted to talk to you today about what may be holding you back. I said previously um, that I didn't want to just keep encouraging you to live your best life or do your best, whatever, because I realized even within myself, there are more factors to it. Sometimes we are fighting the voices and things that we were taught as a child, or how people talk to us about us being bullied. And then people, such as myself, sometimes will get on apps and everything and saying, go believe in yourself, and God has given you a talent, and go after your dreams. And it's like you're trying, but at the end of the day, you still have in the back of your mind what other people have told you. So I want to help you with that. So let's start with this. What do you think of yourself? Not what everyone else has told you, not what someone else has made you feel, but how do you think of yourself? Are you happy as the person that you are today? And if not, then why not? I also want to ask you, what other things do you think of when you think of yourself? Is it the voice that somebody has said? Are you thinking that you may never amount to nothing? And I'm not trying to put things into your head, but I'm wondering, how do you feel about yourself? Because how you feel about yourself shapes a lot of things. If you feel as though you're never going to make it, then, why even try? I'll give you an example. When I was younger, around 16, everybody is getting their license and things like that. Well, I felt as though nobody was going to let me drive their car, so there was no use of getting my license. I didn't get my license until I was in my 30s. But it's also too because there was public transportation. But either way, um, but I felt like no one would allow me to drive their car, so there was no use. As some of you have heard, I've said it sometimes um about me getting I'm sorry, that I was in cosmetology, and there was a reason why I didn't finish. Now, it's not just so much of, like my hours and stuff like that, because I was missing some hours, but the thing about it was this. I felt like no one would let me do their hair for my state board. So I was like, and I think at that time, if I'm not mistaken, they said that we couldn't use mannequins. So at the end of the day, I'm like, ain't no use of me going for that because you know what I mean? I don't have anybody to practice on, so there's no use. And as you can see, I never got my license, even though I do have a love for hair. And that is the whole thing, and I missed the opportunity to go back and, make up those hours because they basically expired, like, 10 years after I left school. So I would have to start all the way over, and, it's just those types of things. And so that's why I'm saying that it's important of how you feel about yourself. What do you say about yourself? Because a lot of times, that's what stops us from going and doing what's next. Like I just said, I didn't do I didn't finish. I didn't get my license until I was in my 30s because nobody in my opinion, nobody would allow me to drive their car. Nobody would let me do their hair for state board, so what's the use? And as I'm telling you this, I'm even reminded of the man in the Bible sitting next to the pool or the body of water, we'll say, for 38 years because nobody helped him. He was right there. And sometimes we're in the midst of everything. We have our ideas, but we feel as though nobody else is going to help us. There's no use. But what I will say is, and something that I've learned from God even recently, is if you make the effort, God will do the rest. If you take a step, God will do the rest. He will send the people, but you have to be a willing vessel. So now we'll also go back to where we started. Sometimes we're not a willing vessel is because of what other people have said to us. I told you I was going to help you with this, and I am. The thing is this: you have to, not that you have to, but I want to give you a different perspective of it. And I know that you may hear this a lot, but try to see it from now, basically. People will speak against your dream because they don't want you to do it. That dream could have been a dream that they had. And so what I'm talking about, like if you tell a family member or a friend that you got this new invention and they talk against it, and they talk against it so bad that you don't even want to do it at all. That's the goal for them. And not only the goal for them, but for the enemy, to make you doubt, to make you feel like there's no use of doing this. There's no purpose in doing this. Nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get the followers. I'm not going to get the customers and things like that. And they will go down this whole rabbit hole to make you feel like it's never going to happen. What's the use? But that is because they didn't do it. And it's also because they probably never seen anybody do it. But the dreams and the things that God has placed on you, it's because you are going to be the first. But you have to believe that. And I know it is hard. But I want you to realize that God placed these things on the inside of you. This isn't just a dream that goes away. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about it, all of that, because it's God is placing it on your heart. And you can't allow people who've never seen this stop you. They're trying to stop you because at the end of the day, they don't want you to succeed. Nobody gets ahead of them. You know what I mean? You are the younger family member. You shouldn't, get above them. They're older than you. That's why they would stop you. But you can't allow them to stop you. There are people attached to your yes. We say that often, but it's true. You listening to this podcast is someone attached to my yes. If this podcast, especially if this podcast helps you, me not doing podcasts and stuff like that is limiting the gifts that God has given me. And I will say this too, and this more than likely is coming from me and may not be coming from God, but it's something that I realized myself. How dare I not use the gifts that God has given me? They're not mine to hoard. They're mine to give. God didn't give you that gift for you to sit on it. If we go back to the parables in the Bible about Jesus talking about the people that, I think the farmer or somebody, you got to read it, but it's about the talents. I remember I had to do that and do like a skit of it at church and basically sitting on those talents. They're meant to be given out. They're meant to be used. And of course, people are not going to want you to do it. Why? Because they don't want you to succeed in a way. And it's probably not even them not wanting you to succeed, but it is somebody attached to your yes. It may not even be about you. Sometimes the enemy will want us not to do something because somebody else will be blessed. Because of possibly this podcast, we'll use it as an example. It can encourage the next whatever, maybe millionaire or something, just say for an example. And then that person will free their family. So you see, the thing about it is, even some of the battles that you have, it's not even about you. You're going through that so you can bless somebody else. Because you never know, you'll be in a supermarket and you will overhear somebody going through the same thing that you went through. And you can go over there and you can give them a word of encouragement. You think the enemy wants that? He wants to keep everybody bound and in bondage as long as possible. But that's not for you. Okay? So write down, if you can, write down the things that you're good at, the things that you love about yourself. And if you have gifts and talents and everything, write those down. And how do you feel about them? What do you think of when you think of these things? Is it a positive move? Is it not? And if it's not positive, whose voice are you listening to? Until next time, I love you guys and thank you so much for your support throughout the years. If you feel so inclined and you need encouragement throughout the week, I do have music, but I've also recently come up with an EP called Divine Rest, and it's basically me giving you encouragement. It's on all streaming platforms. It's under my full name, Tammy Michelle Simmons. I also have books out. They're under Tammy Simmons. You can find them on Amazon. So until next time, love you guys. Bye.